Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us again today. I want to welcome my guest, Jennifer Gligoric, and I just messed up her last name terribly. So tell them what it really is.
No, that's fine. Actually, it's Gligoric, but Gligoric is how I said it because I'm married to Serbian, and everybody in America will say Gligoric. And then I went to Serbia with them, and they were like, Gligoric. And I'm like, I haven't even known how to say my own name properly. Why did you do that? And he was like, I didn't think it mattered. I was like, yes, it matters. So, but anyway, yeah, it's Gligoric.
Well, so tell our audience about yourself.
So my name is Jennifer Gligoric, and I am the host, or one of the hosts of Super Clinic Project Podcast. I'm a certified consultant and coach, and I work with service-based business owners. So I help them 2 to 10x their business in a variety of ways, from a really hard accelerator program that we have masterminds, and then one-on-one coaching as well. And I also work in my off time as the Minister of Equity and Resources for the world's first digital nation, Asgardia. And a lot of people, they ask me about that, but that's not what we're here today. But it's interesting. I get to meet people from all over the world who are involved in space. I'm from Galveston, Texas. My sister works with the astronauts, so do my dad, in Clear Lake. So that's a pretty fun thing here too. So I do a lot of stuff.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Good for you. Okay, so tell me what inspired you to go into business as a solopreneur.
Well, when I first started out, it was just I needed to figure out a way to make money, right? I did it for the wrong reasons, and then I learned how to do it for the right reasons, and that's why I'm an ethical entrepreneur person. But I do work with other companies now, so I work with them, and then I also do it solo on my own. But I think it was just the impact. So when I talk about ethical entrepreneurship, it was at one point I realized that money, just needing money to pay the rent and the bills. I mean, we all need that. I'm a realist, right? I'm a single mom. I have to electric bills and everything else like everyone else. But once I got out of that, I started to realize that I must have some other purpose than be a cog in a wheel to live a life on a subscription. I'm existing via subscription services. You literally can't live anymore by paying these subscriptions, whether it's rent or mortgage or this or that. And if you don't have it, you can't live. And that's very depressing. So there's got to be a way I can get out of that mindset. And when I realized that I have a divine purpose on this planet and what I'd been doing and why I liked it so much, it kind of changed my mind, and then I went into business. So my divine purpose is to help small business owners, because I think through ethical entrepreneurship we can change the world, and we can fight back against these monopolies that have a stronghold on us, and we can honor our neighbors and our communities, and really just do a lot better good in the world. And that's anyone in a service-based business, so that's why I focus on them.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So, what's been your biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it, if you overcame it?
Yeah. Well, I would say COVID was one of my biggest challenges. I had 3 companies during COVID, and I ended up closing 2 of them. And it was heartbreaking. One was a travel agency. I had a franchise. I was with American Express and Cruise Planners, one of the top 25 franchises you can get. It's been rated like that for like the past 30 years. But I only get paid. I live in Galveston, Texas, and I would only get paid when people got on the boat, and all I did was cruises. Well, nobody got on a boat for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you still need to pay website fees and social media fee, and everything's still these subscriptions that you need. And if you're in a franchise, need to keep on going, and I couldn't do it. And that hurt because I loved it. I loved it. And even though I mostly used it on me and my own friends' travel, I just thought, oh, this will be what I'll be doing when I'm in retirement, right? This will be fun. And then I had a legal services company where I had lawyers and paralegals. And I was a co-founder in that. I had partners in that. I wasn't the sole owner or anything. But that one hurt because I had to get into executive counseling, really, with a bunch of others, like a mentorship program. And when I was describing these decisions that the partners and everyone else were making, people I'd known for a very long time, I said, it just seems to me they want to take this as a loss because they see it's going to be more financial beneficial to them, but it would gut me. And in the room, I just saw this. And I realized I had let slip the biggest fear I had out. And I was right. Wasn't listening to my gut, and I wasn't being smart. And I was holding on to something that was already dead, and it was never going to come back. And if I didn't do anything, I was going to lose my house and my shirt and everything else. And so thankfully I'm a smart cookie though, and I'm really good at contracts and crossing all my T's and dotting all my I's. And so because the contracts were in place, we were able to have the correct exit because that had already been figured out. Even though that was not the exit at the stage they had thought for, because it could have been a bigger loss. And that one really was quite painful. And then my other company, I do marketing and communications, and I work with people, one-on-one coaching, but it was just not the right time. You know, people were kind of reeling, and I was reeling. And I also realized that I missed working with a group of people. And I thought, I'll never work for anyone else again. And I'm unhireable at my age. I mean, you know, I'm over 50. You know, no one's hiring. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And with what I need for flexibility, I had a kid in high school who now is going to be going to college this year. You know, I needed to really be there, right? And when I thought about it, I was like, man, all these things I want, I'm going to write them down. I'm going to pray on it. And I'm just going to do the legwork as far as applying. I think I need to work with someone else. And I got everything that I wanted. I got a way that I could work with the team, and as well as still be a solopreneur and work exactly how I wanted and make the impacts I wanted with the people that I wanted. Because I actually stated it and wrote down this extreme list. And guess what? When you're laser focused, you find it. Yeah. It's when you don't, you don't. And so that's how I got through it. So prayer, and then doing the legwork, and then actually stating what I really wanted and holding firm to what I wanted. And in the meantime, it's really up-leveled me as a coach and as a consultant, and getting that team support and learning. I've learned so much, you know, not just about AI. Now I utilize AI in my own practice, and I do other things. It's just been incredible.
That is amazing. Good for you that you made the tough decisions. That's always hard especially for solopreneurs, because you don't have anybody to help bounce it off of.
My mom, I did call my mom. She was an incredible businesswoman.
Oh, good.
And she had ran her own business for 54 years. And I did lean on my mom. I will say and it's hard too, because there's a part of me that's like, Mom, I still have that teenager in my head. Shut up, what do you know? I know everything, right? I still don't like that, even though I'm a parent, right? And still it's in my head, right? But I was able to get to just shut her up, the teenager up, and listen to my mom, and she actually had very good advice. But it was, and part of her advice was, you need to talk to other people too. You need to be honest, and not, there's a book I read called Who Moved My Cheese? It's not even a book. It's more like a pamphlet. You can read it in like less than a day. Yeah. It's really, but it's so powerful. And one of the quotes in there really has just helped me in my life. And it was to ask yourself, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And boy, I got to tell you, that has come in clutch for me on so many decisions throughout my life after reading that book.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that book in a long time, but that is a good sentence to remember.
It is. What would I do if I weren't afraid? Because I got to tell you, I'm a worrier. So I can't tell you how many times fear has been making the decisions. And it doesn't make great decisions. It makes safe decisions. But as an entrepreneur and, as a solopreneur, you have to do risk. There are all these acceptable risks that you have to do in order to grow, and have that grow or die mindset that you need to get to the next level. And that's a good one to ask.
Absolutely. So, what's a strategy you use to stand out from all the other coaches in your industry? All like, everybody around you that there's a lot of us now. There
Yeah.
didn't used to be when I got certified. There was, it was almost bare, but now it's saturated.
It is saturated, but I still think people get attracted to different things. I have a very varied history, and so as far as background, and I've done a lot of crisis intervention. So I think that actually helps people when they think about it. They want someone who knows how to handle things when it all goes boobs up in a nice way. Then you can still fix it, right? It's just a challenge, and we just need to find a solution to solve it. The solution may be to close and to do something else, but there's a roadmap for that. I've worked with VCs, and I've worked with a lot of brokers and buyers. There's a roadmap for everything. So when you're stuck and you're like, I don't know what to do, and you're in total fear mode, I think that they like the fact that I've been in crisis intervention, and the fact that I think it's just personality. I have an interesting, I think, personality. I, was homeless as a teenager, and I have a great family. You'd think I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but for a period of time, everybody went to pot, and I was left out. And so I went to college like that, and it really gave me incredible insights into people. When you really don't have anything, you see the world very differently. And I happened to be homeless in Broward County, Florida, which at the time was the wealthiest county in America. So it was extreme poverty next to extreme wealth. And it just taught me a lot of things. I'm very good at listening and blending. In fact, not being noticed as a young woman when you're homeless is a superpower. You don't want people to notice you because predators will notice you. And so not being noticed, being able to blend, being able to be like everyone else has also helped me too when I physically am at the business, because I don't do it just remotely. I mean, for many years I would sit in clinics, I would do practice, I'd sit with the docs, sit with this, I'd do outside marketing with them, I do all of that. And so when people get a consultant into the business, the first thing the people think is, oh, she's going to fire everybody. I'm hated. They don't like me. I'm the person who's going to change what they had become comfortable with, even if they don't like what's going on.
Right.
And so learning how to get along with various different people. I mean, at one point I lived in a 1-bedroom on Miami Beach with like 9 roommates. I mean, you could literally be on the toilet, someone's in the shower, someone's brushing their teeth, and that's just how it had to be. And we were all broke, and we were all just trying to make it, and we needed a place to crash at night and, to be, and to shower up, right? And so I think it just made me scrappier, like a little bit. And so I understand it from a lot of different ways. I understand the fear that employees have when you bring a consultant like me in. Even if it's just a coach to help the boss, there's still this fear. She's going to say that we're the problem, or something,
Yeah.
It's just weird. And
Human
then,
nature.
yeah, it's just human nature. And then also to how to shift the mindset out of that to where everybody gets happier and gets what they want too, right? And in ways to do it ethically, because really, if the business is failing, and this is gonna trigger a lot of people here, but it's usually not what you're selling. It's not your widgets. It's not your website. It's not the scapegoat you've decided it is. It's you, because it's your business. It's coming from the top, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just It's probably an HR thing. It's not managing people in the way they need to be managed, not paying them the right way, or putting them in the right position. And once you start to do that and actually lead them the way they need to be led, it's just transformations happen. And so it's getting people to that point, to learn how to lead and to get out of the job they created for themselves and then had to hire people to help them. Because that's kind of how they end up, right? So, yeah.
That's great insight. And I'm sorry you went through all of that when you were young.
Yeah, it sucked. I'm gonna tell you, it sucked. But then also too, it's now in some ways. I'm gonna tell you, it was really bad. It was horrible. I'm not gonna say it wasn't horrible. I mean, I was starving, and I managed to get pregnant at the same time, and it was bad. Okay, I just made poor decisions. But also too, I was more free in some ways, and I saw things that I don't think people even understand to see, and it makes me much more aware. I think it also makes me more compassionate on things. I notice it a lot more in other people, because people have pride. People have pride on the internet, and you have no idea how much people struggle, and until you really know what that looks like, you know.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's been interesting. I can't, you know, I mean, you know, would you do it over, you know, like if you could have changed that, would I have? I mean, when it was happening, yeah, but now after retrospect and seeing what it did and seeing this, I don't think I would have, which is odd because it was so bad at times.
Yeah.
But
you learned a lot.
Yeah, and sometimes I think you know, suffering is optional, you know, and pain is just pain. And once I learned to move through pain and to look at things as opportunities, then that has really helped me so much. I've seen people who've had so much handed to them. I mean, truly blessed and privileged people who were so miserable and not grateful at all for it, and can't understand why they're unhappy, and they dive into addiction or other things, and I think, wow, you've got it all. And I'm like, I'm so lucky I had that experience, because I still am so grateful that I pray and thank God for having a clean, dry bed at night. And I do have a big bed. I have a big queen bed. I bought a huge pecan. I'm talking, the posters on my bed are like this big, and it's got a huge metal canopy. I mean, it really is super fancy. I'll tell you.
Good for you.
But it's because there were so many times I had nothing. So, but that's how, you know, that was my treat. That was my treat for myself, right? And I, you know, you can, being mindful, the ability to have learned how mindfulness is important, and gratefulness, living in gratefulness, and being able to bring that to small business owners who, especially ones that get a little scared or burnt out, and I can come to them, you know, knowing how much worse it can be, right?
Yeah.
And then seeing the good that they've done when they've forgotten the good that they've done already in their business, and how much they really already have, and being able to, I can see, to bridge the gap from where they're at to where they want to go so much easier, I think, because I don't know, it's just I feel like it gave me clarity on something. So yeah, I don't think I'd change it. It's weird, but yeah.
Good. No, it obviously has served you.
Mm-hmm. It did.
So do you see any shifts in solopreneurship happening that could change the way we do business, the way we work in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think AI is changing everything right now. Like, I think for myself, you know, I think about ethical entrepreneurship a lot and how we're using it. And I was really getting very frustrated and disheartened by this explosion of people, and then they would go out and get these $3 an hour people to work with them, and just VAs and things like that, right? And they weren't treating them correctly, but yet they still felt like they were really good people, and then nobody would say they had jobs, right? And I think that AI, who would have thought AI would change that dynamic with everything that's happening, and people are able to utilize that as the tool rather than do something that ended up being so destructive for our economy and other economies around the world too. It ended up being a destructive force rather than a helpful force. And so I love that. I love that AI is doing that. Now, I am Gen X, so there's a part of me, it's like, ooh, AI, burn it and kill it. We've got a movie about it, a whole series of everything bad that's going to happen. Like, hello, no, right? So there is that part of me that thinks that. But the other time, it's like, yeah, but I can do follow-ups with clients and all these other things like that. I can summarize meetings. I can have a really intense session and not have to worry about taking notes, because I know the notes are being taken as we're recorded. Then I take those and I can get a summary of them and send them out. And it helps keep me and my clients so focused on what our tasks are and what we're doing, and then utilizing AI for the data that I need to be able to help, you know, that they give me, and then I can say, can you analyze this too? This is what I'm seeing, and I can literally ask AI to do that. So I think what it's going to do, and what I'm seeing the shifts of, is that more and more experts are able to be unafraid to go out on their own and venture because they won't have these huge costs to help them with things that would be monumental tasks. Now they're able to do it more, and more people will have access to expertise. They'll be able to help more people, give more value, and do it in a much more ethical way than was done before. So I'm actually really excited about it from what I'm seeing.
I am too. And matter of fact, today AI did a math problem for me.
That's good.
I had never done before, but I was like, I can't figure this one out.
It's great. It's really great. It is cool. And I'm just now, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of everything it can do. It can analyze in different ways. I use an AI called Centra, which actually is 12 different AIs, and it's just packaged that way. And each one has a cute little face and a name. And so I can go to the copywriter to help me with copy. I can go to the recruiter to help me with, job postings, or let's see if we can write this better for our client, for what we're really wanting to get. They have data, market, just to be able to work on business plans, to have AI pull market comps and data. Man, this is actually the market share. This is what we have right there. And it's pulling, would have taken me a week, if not weeks worth of research to pull. I can send it to go and pull the data and give me exactly what I'm looking for to see, is this viable or not? Like, this is really our market share. So this would be a realistic goal rather than just kind of thinking pie in the sky for a business of what they're looking to convert in their clients. Yeah.
Cool. So tell me, what's one tool besides AI? What's one tool or app or resource that you absolutely can't live without?
Besides AI?
Yes.
Oh, I would say my calendar.
Oh.
My Google Calendar, time management. We all have the same 24 hours in the day that everyone else does. And I really respect my time, and I try to value everyone else's time and respect theirs. I'm the person who'll be early rather than late. And so living by the calendar in my personal and my professional life, it allows me to have a personal and professional life. So I would say just good old Google and schedule once. Those things have helped me.
Good for you. So how do you manage work-life balance as a solopreneur?
Well, because I go by my schedule, and then I utilize AI so that I'm not spending a lot of time on admin. I still, because I'm a solopreneur, spend my time in fulfillment, which I love to do that. But then there are things that were part of fulfillment, which are follow-ups and reaching out to people. I have tools that I use for that. So that's how I honor my time, so that when I'm off, I'm off. And that took me until COVID to figure that out. I think that I was very unhealthy the majority of my life. And then after COVID, I made some really hard commitments to myself on my own personal health and how I was going to do my life, that went along with saying, I think I'm going to work with another company for, who would have thought I would have ever done that? And I put aside my ego. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't work for anybody else. My mother had her own company for 54 years. I had this itty bitty crappy committee in my head. And that committee was trying to talk me out of doing what was best for me, and ended up being best for a lot of business owners, because my book of business had been became very, very full. So that was good.
That's incredible. So, what's one piece of advice you'd give someone that is starting their solopreneur journey?
I would say, if you want to truly think of yourself as an ethical entrepreneur, right? That's what you're going to do as a solopreneur, right? And I'm going to be ethical in it. I want you to sit down and really think what your divine purpose on the planet is. Why was I put here? And think about what your gifts and your strengths are, because we all have them, and they're all very different and individual and unique, right? And make sure that your business is aligned with that. For example, let's say you're a chiropractor. Most of the businesses I work with as a solopreneur, they are already they've already kind of figured out what they like, right? You know, they've went to school for it, or they're already doing it and they need help with it. They already have, or they know they want to start this type of business, right? And so I just try to make sure that that type of business is in line with them. So why did you study, let's say, be a dentist or a chiropractor or a florist? Let's say it's a florist. Well, I wanted to bring color to the world, and flowers will always make you feel wonderful, right? Okay. I would put that on my website everywhere. I bring color to the world. And how do you do that? Well, because I believe in local, I only use locally sourced flowers and this and this and this. That's the why. So I would never, if somebody asked me, you know, what I do, if somebody asked me now, what do you do? I help small business owners achieve their dreams. Well, how do you do that? You know, and then I'll tell. And you want to say something. If somebody asks you, and what do? You don't want to say, well, I'm a chiropractor. Oh, okay. Womp womp. That's the end of that conversation. So you want to say what your purpose is, and how do you do that? That should be your promise. That's how you do that. I have a variety of programs, including an incredible one-on-one where I can take you to anywhere you want to go. Really, tell me more. You want it to be engaging. You want to geek out on your divine purpose here on this planet, because you actually have a divine responsibility to yourself to do that, right? And you know, the universe or God or however you look at it is of action. You can think about it all day long, but you have to do the actions, right? And so that's my advice. I would say, if you really want to start with that, what is that core purpose? What is your promise, which is your program, your core value, whatever it is? How can you explain that to someone? And then I would make that the linchpin in everything you do. If you're hiring someone to help you, make sure that they're aligned with that, with what you do, how your marketing plan is. Does this align with my purpose? Is this going to help me get to that purpose? And then tell yourself, what do you really want? How do you know? What are your goals for that? And you have to track it. So track your numbers. So I want, you know, everyone to love me. That's what usually business owners will say. Okay, great. So that's your goal. Everybody's going to love you. How will you know when that happens?
Yeah,
well, really. I guess they'll give me 5-star reviews. Yeah, that's something we can track. Well, and they'll refer people to me if they love me. Yeah, they will. They'll stay with my program for the whole time. They'll complete the whole 6 months I have for them. They just won't stop at month 2 and they feel good, or feel like they got what they wanted. Yes, they'll do that. Okay, so how many of those did you get last month? Okay, let's push against yourself. I understand that there's a lot of talk about, well, we got to look at the competition, and that's great. You do want to kind of look at the competition, but again, if this is your purpose and what you're doing, you need to compete against you. Yeah. So what did you do last month? Now what are you going to do this month? It's constant competition, grow or die against yourself. How can I do it better? How can I do this? And then never go to shiny object until you've done these 3 things. The first thing you need to do is say to yourself, how can I do what I'm doing better? How can I help the people get out of pain better? You know, be a better florist, be a better roofer or plumber, whatever your service is, how can I do it better? Then how can I do it more? Then you can talk about capacity, right? Do it better, then more. And then after you've got as much as you can do with that, your customers will tell you how to do something different. Think about Amazon. I want to sell books. Okay, great. Well, I want to sell books everywhere, and I want them to get it overnight. Okay, that's the more, right? And then the customer's like, can you do more than books? Because this is great. Yeah, we can. And now it's Amazon. And of course, now it's went off the cliff, and let's not talk about that. But before that, you know, that was good. It was better, best book people ever, and more, and then something else. So think about it in those terms. Yeah.
Amazing advice. Thank you. So do you have any exciting projects or launches coming up you want to share?
Yes. So I work, superclinicproject.com is the podcast that I'm on. I'm loving it. I'm bringing lots of guests on, and I'm appearing on other shows like this. But through that, I have a free school project that you can go to that's in conjunction with Brand Lab Media, which I absolutely love working with them. There's a mastermind for clinic owners in there, but I also still do one-on-ones, but I'm doing something different that I'm happy with. I'm giving a 15-minute strategy session so that if you have a challenge in your business, no matter what it is, it could be an employee that's gone rogue, it could be should I stay or should I go, you know, whatever the challenge is, bring me a challenge, and then within 15 minutes, I will give you actionable solutions that you can work on towards that challenge.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And tell the audience where they can connect with you to learn more.
If you go to superclinicproject.com, and right there you can see my picture and my name, Jennifer Gligoric. You click on my picture and it'll take you right to those freebies. And you can get the freebies or you can book with me. But I hope you do all of it.
There you go. Yeah, I hope they do too. All right, everybody. Her website address will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jennifer. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, it has.
Thanks
I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys, if you're listening and you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so now and then leave us a review. All right, thank you again. Bye.